Alright everybody, we are back, and now this time it is round 14 of the MoJo Showdown, and today we are at Austria, and yes, I am filming this one the same night that I filmed the previous episode. That's why the cat's still sleeping in the same spot, and I'm still in the same shirt. So don't worry, the cat is alive, and I do change clothes, so just in case you were worried about that. Alright, we head into our qualifying lap. Same thing as Spain here, except even more straightforward in terms of the strategy. Softs to mediums. No real headache with the strategy here. I hate league racing on this track. It's another one of those tracks. 3 DRS zones. It's a very easy track to drive. It is just absolutely impossible to break away from the car behind. So, it is probably going to be a very interesting race here between me and Timo. It's going to be very hard to break out of each other's slipstream. So this does build up to be one of those races where the top two are just within a second of each other the entire race. But would it play out like that? Who knows? I mean, I do know, but that would be spoiling it. So far on this qualifying lap, as you can see, nice and tidy. Nothing too heroic, but everything nice and solid so far. Coming into the final 2 corners, obviously don't want to invalidate. Ooh, I missed the apex there. You want to mount over the inside curb there. It's actually a very not good lap, 103.7. Oof, not my best work, but it's not terrible. It's all about putting it on the front row, like I always say. And we'll wait here for the game to load and to give me the experience I don't care about, because I don't care about content creator skins. And once I skip by this, you will see we did get pole position by exactly a quarter of a second over Timo on softs. Leitat in third on the mediums, only 7/10 back on the mediums. He could very well come into play in this race. He's had great pace since he's joined the league, consistently been that next challenger to me and Timo, really filling in for where Barkologist and Pack 2 Drippy, whatever his name was, should have been. Or Andrew even, or Andreas, but they just don't show up. And that's something else too, like with the big spread in the league. The big spread's there because kind of all the cars that were in between me and Timo and the rest of the field, all those cars kind of like in the midfield, the high midfield, just don't exist now. You know, you had the other Williams, you had both Mercedes, and the Ferrari. Those were all cars that were right there in the mix. I mean, if everyone that signed up at the beginning of this league would have been here throughout the whole thing, it would have been a lot more interesting. And we could have even had a 3-way constructors fight if also my teammate wouldn't have got banned. So, frustrating, yes, but it is what it is. Nonetheless, and going into this race, status quo, still no update on the standings. Spoiler alert, we never get it. But we know we're leading constructors and drivers. We've been leading them for a while, and we've been slowly building that lead. I did not anticipate things to go this well, honestly. I was expecting it to come a lot more down to the wire between me and Timo, and especially in the Constructors' Championship. We get a terrible start, but still just good enough to hold our position. And now that balancing game starts where you need to use the ERS to stay ahead, but not too much that we become vulnerable. Timo's going to actually go for it right away here. We're going to give him plenty of room on the inside. We get a great run on the outside. Are we going to be able to hold this the whole way down the straight? He's using his juice to try to get by me right away. He wants to set the pace in this race. But we were able to stay ahead. And hopefully, at the very least, we can break away from the rest of the field quickly. We do not want to allow Leitat to hang with us in the DRS when he is on mediums. That would be huge for him, and he would be able to go and win this race when he's on the faster tire at the end of the race. So this really is a 3-car fight for the win as it stands right now. There was some sort of incident behind, but luckily no safety car, so we can get some green flag running at 9 cars for this race. So yeah, literally a third of the field is up for possibly the win here today. But as we work on the second lap here, what's in my mind is that we're only 1 lap away from DRS. And I've kind of already mentally decided there's no way I'm going to break out a full second here with him in my slipstream on this track. So we are going to have to basically deal with this the whole race. You know, he's going to be in my DRS. And it's going to be about the small micromanagements, just like it was in, for example, Britain, which I think is probably the most exciting race that we've had so far. I mean, we've had a few exciting races, but the Britain one just really sticks out the way we traded the entire race. It really was something to behold there, folks. So I feel like I'm driving really well in this race so far off the start. No jitters at the beginning, I feel very warmed up. Hitting all my lines, especially a lot better than I did in my qualifying lap. I'm still surprised that was pole. Maybe Timo went into this race cold as well, but we set fastest lap.
That was the
Probably
lap of the
will
race
stand
so
as we are on heavy fuel. And yeah, now the DRS is activated. Now the race begins. Or does it? Because the Logan curse absolutely strikes again.
Okay.
Yeah, there I am saying it. Logan curse strikes again. Timo has spun. And actually, one of those cautions that flashed on the screen earlier this race was Latat apparently had spun as well. So this went from what it was going, it's so disappointing because this is now 2 races in a row that could have been really interesting. Last week's race in Spain could have been very interesting, you know, with me and Timo doing different strategies. Then we both pit for a set of softs at the end, and you know, he was catching me at the end and we were battling. But it all just, like, I didn't really show it much because it all didn't really matter because he had the 3-second time penalty anyhow. So as long as we didn't crash into each other or I got some stupid penalty, you know, the result was already decided. And now here we were here where a third of the field could have fought for this win on a track like this where slipstream is just ridiculously good. But unfortunately, Timo pushing really hard and does what everyone's done, and that's get up on this curb too much on the throttle. It's just the minor things that can happen when you're pushing as hard as we do in these races to have the pace that we do. Yeah, like I said, it's disappointing. We just like that, in the span of half a lap it was, we went from a third of the field competing for this win to now, unless if there's another safety car, you know, this race is basically already over. And yeah, sorry to disappoint you guys on this one, but this was the most boring race of the season, honestly. There would be no safety car. I would do softs to mediums. I would have such a gap that I could pit for softs to make sure I get fastest lap here at the end of the race. And yet now I'm going to show fastest lap of the race here. It is the final lap of the race. I'm on fresh softs, going to use all the ERS that I have remaining that I built up while I was in the pits. And if I get close enough, I might actually be able to get some DRS on the second straight too, which would make this the last lap even better. I actually forget whether I get this DRS or not. On the Haas, I forget who was in the Haas. Haas was one of the 2 teams we didn't have in this league, but someone filling in this race, someone new, got into the Haas. We do get the DRS, which is great. Hard to spot the braking point through the ghost car, but we have multiple markers. It's not just the line I go by other things as well, but shh, that's my secret. So I have multiple braking lines, so something like a car is in my way, I'm not just looking at one thing. Yep, nice and tidy lap, just like a qualifying lap. And through the last 2 corners, take the high end of the curb. Use the curb on the outside, don't clobber the sausage on the inside. Nice and smooth on the throttle. Smooth is fast in terms of the throttle on this track. Jeff is in there, 104.1. And we take the win of the Austrian, not the Australian Grand Prix. And yeah, this is a really short video because this race was really nothing happened, you know. And again, it was disappointing because it really was looking like this could have been the most interesting race of the season by far, with it not just being me and Timo, but me and Timo and also Latat coming and played late on the opposite strategy. But they both spun on lap 2 and 3. No safety car brought the field back together, and honestly, that was that. And then you see, yeah, Timo makes the mistake right at the end. Latat gets by, but they both have penalties. It comes down to penalties. As Timo crosses the line, he still gets Latat. Yeah, he won penalties. What a crazy ending to this race. So the race isn't great when the ending of watching the other cars finish is the most exciting part of the race. But yeah, that just happens sometimes. That's league racing. Sometimes you have races that are just absolutely on it the whole time, but then other times you have races that go by like that because nothing really happens. But the way things have gone in my other leagues, I'll take races like this. Yeah, gotta twirl that mustache that's not there, Mad Scotsman. Love to see it. Gotta love Mad Scotsman. Nice guy. Hope the best for him moving forward. And yeah, on the podium. And again, we will show the final results here as we take home 26 points. The perfect result. And remember, because of the format where your worst 3 results are deleted, we are still on a perfect season. And that's going to do it for this, guys. And tune in next time for what will be the finale of the MoJo Showdown.